Alright. Hello, guys. So, I'm here to demonstrate some new features that I've added to the RML game. Primarily because of issues we've had regarding this track here, Hungary. Um, Basically, most of the track is quite slow, especially the corners. The cars are very slow, so the only real time they gain is in massive acceleration zones. This basically led to the pit lane acceleration that you get coming out of the pit lane on the outlap in practice being very substantial, very prominent in the final practice time of the outlap. And not only that, because the track is one of the kind of longer ones, doing a second lap was not, although possible, was not good for gaining time. So you would lose time on the flying lap compared to the outlap. This meant that the fastest times in the practice server couldn't give you a good idea of how fast you'd be in qualifying, since you didn't know how fast your flying lap would be, only how fast your outlap would be, where the pit lane acceleration would be much more substantial in determining the practice time compared to a flying lap. Which is why I've added some new features to help mitigate that problem. Now, as you can see here, I have my setup information blurred here so you can't see it. But what you can see are some new features over here. We have outlap speed and the apply push or outlap settings. First off, the apply push. Basically, you change whatever this box says here to whatever push you want within 40 to 100. You don't even have to press save. You could just change the text in this box. So say I want 40, then I click outside the box to set it to 40. I'm just going to leave it at 100 for now, but it does work. I will demonstrate that in a moment. And you press this, and it will apply the push to your car. And it does not cost you a setup to do that. And it will remove your car from the track, and it's kind of like executing a setup where it will remove your car from the track when you press this button, but it won't waste a setup. So it's kind of like loading your old setup, except you're changing the push. Anyways, now I will demonstrate that. So say I'm at 100 push, so you know I'm at 100. I send my car out. Pay attention to the fuel burn. We got 98.95 here. 99.65 here. And now, I'm going to go change it to 40. Just click outside the box. Just leave it how it is. Press the back button. And you apply the push and outlap settings. And now, when you send the car out, less fuel burn. Less fuel burn. So the push was properly updated to 40, and now I'm going to go set it back to 100 for the purposes of the next test. The other feature, of course, the quite obvious one, is the outlap speed feature. What this allows you to do is either run race testing or run a slow outlap before your flying lap. Basically, what these testing modes mean, race mode is basically just the same thing as how practice works already. You send your car out, and its outlap will be on the push setting you gave it in the race strategies window, and there will be no speed limit, no conservation of tires. It will just be running what you set it to do. If you set it to do 100 push, it will run 100 push, no speed limit, nothing. The slow outlap, will basically make your car run a conservative outlap for its first lap, and then begin pushing near the end of it to run its fast flying lap on the correct push setting. And I'll let you see what that looks like. So I'm going to change the outlap speed to slow. As you can see, this will update. And then I will send my car up. So you can kind of see what that looks like. So as you can see, the fuel burn is really low, and so is the tire wear. That is because you're on the conservative outlap. And as you can see, another thing to note about the conservative outlap. Your speed will be limited to just 200 on the outlap. As you can see, the acceleration is quite low on the outlap for the sake of conserving tires and fuel. And your max speed is limited for the same purpose. And also to make sure that the cars don't accidentally go faster on the outlap for whatever reason if things happen to go awry at a specific track. As you can see, the car is continuing along its outlap. It's hardly burning any tires. We're only at 98. You remember, I am on 100 push, rich soft, but I'm still at 98% because I'm on the conservative outlap. And the point at which the car will start pushing is around when it passes the pit lane. As you can see, it will now begin pushing here. The tire wear starts to increase, and we are now getting back up to speed here. At the point where the car crosses the pit lane, it will detect that it needs to go into its flying lap, and it will begin its flying lap as soon as you pass the pit lane. And at this point, the car will be running pretty much the same as normal practice, just with the addition of one slow lap as the car is getting warmed up out on track. As you can see, I'm going to run my next practice lap so you can see the difference. Of course, here we have a 66.1, which, as you know, around this course is not exactly the fastest time. And that's on rich soft. So the conservative outlap doing its job to slow the car down and keep the fuel and tires conserved until the car's ready to push. And as you can see, we have plenty of fuel, plenty of tires as we're running the final corner. And we run ourselves our flying lap of 64.5. Anyways, that's the gist of the features. I hope you'll like this update, and I hope it makes strategy testing and setup making easier. That should be everything, and it will be implemented. The game will be opened for strategy testing soon. Anyways, I'll see you on the track.